Hi there. So whenever I have to get my groceries, I have to pass by a flower shop. And that got me thinking, what are the environmental costs of us buying flowers? Back in 2009, the floriculture industry was worth $33 billion. And every single year for Valentine's Day, 198 million roses are produced just for Americans alone. So the process of selling these flowers are incredibly interesting to me because quite frankly, I don't know much about it and I haven't given much thought to it until for this project. But anyway, I thought it was really interesting because for days like Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas days, demand is ramping up. And apparently a lot of these growers, they use a lot of pesticide to ensure that demand is met. So then after these flowers are grown, they're transported via gas guzzling trucks. And then these trucks go to the airport, and then they're transported via plane to God knows where. And then they're transported using another truck. And then these trucks go to the supermarket and they're stored in refrigerators. Refrigerators are not the most environmentally friendly because they consume a lot of energy. I just found that out because of my last project. Anyway, and then when they're selling these flowers to you, then guess what? They're wrapped in plastic, which is the least environmentally friendly thing to wrap the flowers in. And then after a week or so, I think it's even less than a week, after a couple of days, the flowers die and they produce methane. I didn't even know that dying flowers produce methane, which is really bad for the environment. The whole process is incredibly bad for the environment. On top of that, there's a significant amount of water that goes into growing these flowers. So Kenya is one of the biggest flower exporters as well. In fact, horticulture makes up their second biggest foreign exchange export. And it's interesting because Kenya is one of the most water-stressed countries, and cut flowers account for 45% of Kenya's virtual water exports. These cut flowers generate the highest economic return per unit of water exported in Kenya. But of course, everything has to come with a price. One of their lakes called Lake Naivasha used to be very scenic and picturesque. Now it's being dried up and it's definitely a very different condition than it used to be because more than 50% of the lake's water is used for these cut flowers. So not only are these cut flowers bad for the lakes, but another study found that these Kenyan roses, just growing 12,000 of them, emit 13,200 pounds of carbon dioxide. The same study also found that the equivalent number that's grown in a Dutch hothouse result in 77,150 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So say if you're living in California, and if you're looking to buy roses or flowers, 1/3 of California's flowers, they're being produced in hothouses. So these flowers are going to be marketed as locally produced. And they are, but most of these consumers, they would think, oh, I'm cutting down my carbon footprint, so let me buy something that's locally produced. But they're in fact contributing to the problem instead of alleviating it. And it's funny because their carbon footprint is actually way higher compared to them buying flowers from Kenya or other countries. So another interesting fact, China is planning to become the largest flower exporter in Asia and second in the world, right after Netherlands. And this has significant implications because it affects land use. Globally, there's 2 billion hectares of degraded land. That's roughly twice the size of China, and there are opportunities for it to be restored. Obviously, these flowers industry, they bring in a lot of cash flow to countries like Kenya and China, and they're a significant part of their economic development. However, like with all natural resources, land is scarce and is limited. And in 2015, the world population is projected to be 9.6 billion people. And we're already having issues with food scarcity. And looking forward, that issue is going to be more and more pronounced. And we definitely have to do something about it. And we have to be more wise as to how we use and how we manage our land. I know that some people would say, oh, there are environmentally friendly flowers out there, they're certified, but I just think that it's better not to buy flowers at all because you're still taking up land to grow these flowers, and you could use the land to grow food instead and to feed other people. There definitely has to be a huge change in our culture. Instead of buying flowers for people for special occasion, get them something else instead, maybe treat them to a meal. I'm sure that we can all be more creative and find other ways that are more sustainable to show other people that we care and that we love them on special occasions. So that's my view on flowers, and I hope they enjoyed it. Stay awesome.